If you were to ask me have I watched Snow White, the answer would be no. But I want to make it crystal clear it's known for multiple of reasons, which I will explain in this episode. So, number one, it's a no because of the dwarves. The dwarves are wrong. The dwarves could have been, they could have been real life dwarves. Or do you know what's interesting? I want to know how they did the dwarves in Rings of Power, and then maybe that will make me understand it a bit more better. Because it is interesting that it says here on Google that in Rings of Power, the dwarves, like in The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit films, appear shorter through a combination of techniques including false perspective, CGI, ladders, and size doubles, as well as casting taller actors to play dwarfs. That's really interesting because obviously that's what they're saying they used in this film. They used CGI or no, they used AI. But isn't AI and CGI are obviously quite one in the same? But obviously, okay, I think, and then they've done it like as a detailed perspective breakdown. They said false perspective and camera angles, and that the camera angles and perspective are manipulated to create the illusion of the doors being shorter in relation to other characters, particularly elves and humans. And then the CGI is computer generated imagery is used to further enhance the visual effect of the dwarves' smaller stature in certain scenes. Then the ladders and stools, actors playing dwarves may be placed on ladders or stools to achieve the desired height difference in scenes with other characters. Now, the showrunner chose to cast actors who are naturally taller than average to play the dwarves, which allows for a more natural look and less reliance on CGI. Interesting. So, I don't know. It seems like from what we just listened to, or which I just read out, they needed to probably take that, a guidebook, a pamphlet out of Lord of the Rings. Like, you know what's crazy? It's like every time, even Lord of the Rings and Rings of Power, they've always done dwarves right, and we know that it's not real life. It's not real life dwarves. It's literally, what's it called? It's literally actors playing dwarves, but they don't look weird like how they do in Snow White. I don't know what the reason for that is. But that's just the way it is, really. I don't know why. I mean, obviously, no, I just read the breakdown to you guys, and obviously it's like, that's how Lord of the Rings does it. But I'm just like to myself, if that's how they do it, why didn't the Snow White live action take that on as well as themselves? Because they would be able to do that exact same thing, you know? They would be able to do the exact same thing. The technology would be the same. So what's for the mess up? Number two, Gal Gadot is not the evil queen, and I feel like we can all agree on that. I've been seeing those TikToks of that Gal Gadot, that she can't act, basically, and it's true, she can't act. Not even to say it in like, in a rude way. I hate to be that way. Do you know what I mean? You know when it's like, oh, well, like an actor obviously would have to be good at what they do for them to be an actor. But then maybe I guess it's like most things in life actually. I don't know, because there's that saying where people say, oh, just because an artist's work is bad doesn't mean they're a bad artist, because then art is subjective. But then maybe, I don't know if that phrase works actually in her, like in her scenario, because with her acting, like I think you want to see a great acting performance, and then if you're not getting that, then you question their work, you question what they're able to do. And when I was seeing the videos of the TikToks of where there's that compilation that they've done of Gal Gadot's acting roles, and it's been her in, obviously, what's it? The Wonder Woman, that's Wonder Woman 2, and then different ones. Like, give me the stone, and it's so slowed. It's so slowed. Another thing is, right, I wanted to also talk about, because when I was thinking about this episode, I also want to talk about the fact that she's just probably not like what I expected the evil queen to be. It's crazy. You guys would be like, oh, but you haven't seen the film. I already know, though. This is what I mean, and that's what everyone is saying. We know these things already for Gal Gadot, and maybe no. You know what I was going to do in the episode? I was going to say maybe I will watch it, but I don't think I will. I feel like if it's been as slammed as it has, what is it? What's the use of me watching it? And I know that, like, with films in general, there's bad films, there's good films, and I think, but it's all down to opinion. But then I do think that sometimes, like, opinion and perspective, right? But I do think that sometimes, like, a film is generally bad. Like, there's no way around it. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes they really are just bad, and the only times you really know that, yeah, it's depending on, yeah, how they've been received. But then I guess even for me, sometimes I think sometimes the rating doesn't always matter. Actually, the rating doesn't always matter, because obviously sometimes even if a film's been like, yeah, not had good received, it is somehow it can grow on you. Like, obviously, I think when I watched Party Monster just the other day, and that stars Macaulay Culkin, I heard that film didn't receive good like accumulation. I heard it didn't receive good reviews, but obviously in later years it grew on people, and now it's kind of practically like a cult classic. I think, yeah, it's considered to be a cult classic. So, and I think, I don't know, it just in that aspect, I just don't think with this live action that, like, oh, it's gonna grow on anybody. I feel like, oh, if it's bad, it's bad. And it's just the way it is. I know that, and I think to myself, with all the criticisms it's getting, of course, it's like, it makes you think to yourself, oh, yes, you are tempted to watch it, because if the criticisms are so bad, you think to yourself, I need to try this out for myself to see how bad it really is. And I think that's the thing. I definitely probably will do that in the near future. Even though on the subject of bad films, I'd never watched Amelia Perez. The people that did, you know what I mean? You deserve a medal. You deserve so much more. Then, you deserve so much more than you got or that you had to deal with, because obviously it won awards and we were all gobsmacked as to why it did. But this is the thing, I haven't watched Amelia Perez either. But the thing for me, when I just think about bad films, I'm like, why am I going to put myself through a bad film? I mean, you don't know a film is bad before you watch it. This is the thing. But of course, sometimes, of course, you hear things, but I meant you yourself don't know they're bad unless you've seen it. But it's just, I wouldn't put myself through a bad film. And I have such a high regard for cinema and film. That's the reason for the podcast. That's why the podcast exists. And it's just like, why would I then watch Amelia Perez or even this live action Snow White when they're obviously bad? And when I was doing what I do, which is like, you go on Letterboxd and you see how a film is received, and Letterboxd feels like it's the pyramid of knowing where a film is classed. Because I know there's all those different kind of critic sites, you know what I mean? Like, I think Rotten Tomatoes and all those kinds of ones. But Letterboxd for me is generally where I go. I go to Letterboxd and I'm like, oh, if people are bashing this film on Letterboxd, I know that it sucks. And I'm convinced, do you know what I mean? I'm convinced that it's bad. Because obviously Letterboxd told me so. And literally all of the reviews on Letterboxd, most of them were like, I don't know, it was so rare when I was on there. It was so rare to see a 5-star rating for this film, or even a 4. A lot of them, majority of them, was 2.5 or 3 at most, right? Majority of them were 2.5 or a bit lower, right? So then for me, that was like, wow, this film must be bad. But I just think it's a thing where if I know that it's bad, then I don't think it's a thing where I'm actually going to go and spend money on it to see it, because that would be a waste of my time. Plus also money. But mainly money, because that's what I mean. You can feel like when you watch a bad film, it's like it's fine if it takes away your time and you're watching it at home. That's all well and good. But if it takes away your money, no, that's not what I signed up for. So I think for me, I would definitely watch it at home. And I would what's it called? Yeah, I would watch it at home just to really then form an opinion on it. I mean, right now, even you guys might think when I'm doing these episodes, like I'm talking about something that, I mean, I have information on. I have information on it because I've already been researching. I have information on it, but I just haven't witnessed the thing. So yeah, I haven't witnessed the thing. So, but anyways, I want to go back to my point of which I was saying. So I mentioned about Gal Gadot and her being a bad actress. So that's a tick. I love, when when I'm doing a podcast, sometimes I like to do notes. But yeah, that's a tick. But, and then, okay, I was moving on to the Evil Queen, right? So, Charlize Theron's Evil Queen, no, number one, takes the cake. No contestants. No contestants, no competition. That's all. You know what I mean? And I know that, I don't know, I think apparently, I thought, because when I was looking at this with my family, they're trying to say this Snow White's supposed to appeal to younger audiences or whatever. And that's who it's supposed to be for. Even though, why would kids want to see dwarves that look like, I don't know, they just look so weird. But then, actually, you know what? What I just said, actually, does have a point. I don't think they're right, because kids wouldn't be bothered about that, actually. Do you know what I mean? They wouldn't be bothered that the dwarfs look weird. I don't think that because obviously when you're a child, not to diss children, but you're easily impressed. And me too. I mean, I feel like sometimes I always say to myself, oh, I'm easily impressed with films in general, right? That's what I think of myself as a film viewer. I don't ask for much from a film as long as it entertains me. Do you know what I mean? As long as it entertains me, as long as it's got me going, as long as I feel like I can sit through it. That's all I need, really. But I mean, I'm saying with kids, it's not like they're gonna really be viewing it with a magnifying glass, like how us as mature film viewers do. Do you know what I mean? And people who've been watching films for a long time. A child would just be like, oh, yeah, a child would just be like, oh, you know what I mean, this is Snow White and it looks great. Do you know what I mean? But then again, yeah, that's what they'll be like. And they'll be like, oh, it looks glossy and it looks great. That's it. But we'll be like, oh, we know Snow White. We know different adaptations of Snow White. And that's what I'm saying. There's Charles Theron's one, which is obviously a more mature Snow White, which is Snow White and the Huntsman, that stars Kristen Stewart. And it's a way better. It's a better Snow White, but that's obvious. For one, Charlize Theron is convincing as Evil Queen. She brings so much, what's the word? She brings so much energy, so much power, and she's obviously so striking and so scary. And that's what you want from the Evil Queen. Like, I was terrified of her as the Evil Queen, and she's like, where is she? And like, you know what I mean? And she's just spooky. She's just scary. Then there's also, I guess also on the lighter side as well, because I guess, in terms of Snow White adaptations, Snow White and the Huntsman is one of the top ones of being the most mature and darker and gloomy side. I mean, you've got Snow White walking through forests and like, it's dark and it's grim. So it's dark and it's grim and it's really scary, and like the apple thing is also more scary. No, actually, okay, I will say this. I don't know if people have watched Snow White Husband, but I didn't want to say, oh no, like this is a spoiler, but obviously in Snow White and the Huntsman, she doesn't even bite an apple, or it's an apple, but it's like a spiky apple, right? And so that's even like more scarier than the normal Snow White is, because the normal Snow White obviously is just a nice juicy red apple, and then obviously you're like, well, that's appealing, it looks nice, you want to bite your teeth into it. Do you know what I mean? And that's understandable. But then yeah, in Snow White and the Husband, it's more darker. Do you know what I mean? It's just, so that's why I'm saying that one's more darker. But if we move on to the other one, which is Mirror Mirror, and that stars Julia Roberts and Lily Collins. Right. Yes, Lily Collins. Do you guys know that I get Lily Collins and Amelia Clark? I get them modeled up because I feel like they look quite alike. Um, Come for me if not, but I do. And I was talking about celebrity lookalikes just the other day, but there's a lot of celebrities that look alike in Hollywood. And I'm telling you, those two, those two are one of them. Sorry, they just are. Like, you guys can say if you don't agree, but I think they look alike. Okay, that's just my personal opinion. But anyway, so Mirror Mirror, yeah, that's more of a yeah. I don't feel like Mirror Mirror is like yeah, as what I said. It's not as dark as Snow White and the Huntsman. Like it's still like light and it has nice. Do you know what I'm saying? Like in Snow White, the tones are much darker and everything's gloom and dark and there's not much color shading. But you know, with Mirror Mirror, like it's bright. It's bright. I mean, guys, the cover is white. So the color is white. Like, you know, the film cover is white. So that's all I can say. But Snow White and the Huntsman's obviously more darker. And then you have yeah, like look, Julie Roberts on the side and you have what's it called? Yes, and you have Lily Collins on the side as well. And then obviously they say that Mirror Mirror is fantastic, charming and witty. Like they love the casting and it's also a comedy, I feel like, right? Am I wrong? It is a comedy, I think. I was looking for it to say the genre, but I think that it is a comedy, right? I think it is a comedy. So, because it's quite funny. Do you know what I mean? It's quite funny. I don't know if there's any other Snow White adaptations that I'm missing, because I don't think so. No, I'm not. Even though, guys, oh my gosh, even though Red Riding Hood as well, if we're talking about live actions, Red Riding Hood is great. Okay, we're still on the subject of live actions right now. Okay, and that, do you know what I mean? This is a bad one, but let's talk about the fact that there is some good ones, okay? I very much enjoyed Red Riding Hood when it came out, and that was in 2011, and I have it on DVD. And obviously it also stars Amanda Seyfried, or is it Seyfried or Seyfried? Seyfried, sorry, my bad. But no, so Seyfried and what's it called? And so yes, and then it's supposed to be, I like how they made this Red Riding Hood, yeah. It's obviously supposed to be a horror. And so that's what I mean. They gave the people what they want. And that's what I mean. I don't know if this Snow White, like, was supposed to be dark. I don't think it is. It's just supposed to be, like from the look of it, yeah, it just does look very, childlike. I don't know. Yeah, from the look of it, looks very childlike. And I just mean, it doesn't really have anything about it. Does that say 40%? Sorry. Sorry. Obviously, I'm researching, sorry. And I was like, I can see that it says for Snow White. Let's press on Rotten Tomatoes. It says 40%. But is that how Rotten Tomatoes works? Oh, okay. So 73. But 40% tomato. Yeah. What? Sorry. 40% is super low. Interesting. And when you go on here, actually, on Rotten Tomatoes, people are saying it's not actually really that bad. That's really interesting. Sorry. I'm really tired. That's why actually I'm doing this episode today. This wasn't Disney has lost sight of why they started doing animation in the first place, because there's just some things you shouldn't do in a live action. There we go. Right. And Zegler is the only thing keeping Snow White from becoming the on-screen debacle that it already is off-screen. And this is what I mean. Now we're on topic of Zegler. Actually, that comment helped me to go on to that part. But I don't want to really talk about her too much, because of course the last heading I just spoke about was basically the subject of evil queens and doing those correctly. And this I just meant in comparison to Julia Roberts and Charles Theron. Gal Gadot doesn't meet the mark, or she doesn't appear to meet the mark. So of course, I can only say that for someone who hasn't sat through it. But anyways, so Zegler, I think she's obviously going through a tough time. I did read today that anyways, it has what's it called? It has like crumbled at the box office, right? It hasn't done. You see, right, so I think it just came out yesterday. It says Snow White bombed so badly at the box office that Disney put another live-action princess on hold. And I think that's about Tangled. But before I get into that, because we're going to save that, and I'll talk about that afterwards. But, what was it? I was just saying about Zegler, okay? They've been saying that people are unhappy with the fact that she's even been casted as Snow White, because her skin is not pale as white snow, whatever. I'm just like, why would they zoom in on that? I feel like Rachel's a good actress, in general, from seeing her in, West Side Story, and Songbirds. And so really, that Hunger Games title is so long, but like that Hunger Games title is so long, and who asked them to call it that? The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Yes. I think actually the person who asked them to call it that was probably the author. But anyways, it's such a tongue twister. Moving on though. So yeah, I think she's a great actress, and she obviously sang in Songbirds and Snakes, and I really like her singing voice. And this is the thing. There's something in me that wants to be like, oh, I would watch the live action just for Rachel. And and this is the thing, I probably would. She would be the only pulling magnetic factor. There's not really anything else that would draw me to it. There's not anything else that would draw me to it. So it's a shame, but yeah, it just wouldn't happen. It really just wouldn't happen. And I think obviously people also said they hated her bob, and I was like, okay, it's not that bad. Like, for me, I'm like, okay, her bob's not great, but why are we just gonna... I think sometimes when we talk about films, sometimes we just nitpick all the way to the unnecessaries, where it's like we want to pick on her bob and we're like, hello, it's literally just a Snow White bob. What's the big deal? I'm saying, like, obviously how I just said a second ago, that it is about nitpicking. They want to say, oh, her bob's not right, all this kind of stuff. But what about the fact that, yeah, she can sing and all these other stuff, but they just want to say, oh, she's not Snow White. And I guess if, like how I've mentioned other evil queens, then I guess we want to talk about other Snow Whites, sure. She's not anything like them, because, I mean... But then I don't like when people do that. Like, it's like they make things racial. Like, I'm just like, people can be whatever character they want. Do you know what I mean? And I just think that's really weird. Like, I think people even do that. One thing to touch on, people do that with, like, cartoon characters and, like, anime characters too. They'll be like, oh, you only have to stay in a box. I mean, push yourself and stay in that box to play that character because of their race. So, like, oh, I don't know. And I don't even know if any of you guys would be like, oh yeah, you know it's anime, but no, like Hunter, and they'll be like, oh, Canary's black, then Canary should only be done by black people. But this is the thing, I don't think so. Like, Canary can be done in general. I don't know. People just, like to change things and like, but just, I meant do a different angle on things. And I do, and I think that's what people have said anyways, actually, about what I was saying about wanting to watch the film for Rachel. Everyone has said that, though. They've said it's not like they've been wanting to watch the film because of Gal Gadot. She's not what anyone's really been looking for. She's like, yeah, so she's not someone that people have really been looking for. She's not the person who really people have been looking for. They want to do, they want like a better evil queen, and that Rachel's obviously beat it, like that. Yeah, she's beaten, or she's what do you say? She's won over Gal Gadot. Anyways, I want to go back to the place where I said I was going to go back to. Sorry. I always do this. I'm like, I'll be like, oh, I'll pinpoint and put a something I want to talk about on the bench, but then I'll sometimes try to forget. But I think it was that I was just trying to say that I wanted to talk about, so because Snow White's box has flopped at the box office, that now they won't be doing, yes, they're going to be putting the Tangled adaptation on hold, innit? Which is a shame. Even though that obviously can coincide with my last point, which I'm obviously going to talk at the very end about, about the subject of whether live actions need to be done, which is the same thing, which can also coincide again with also biopics. Do biopics and live actions, do they need to be done? Does anybody ask for them? Not particularly, but I feel like with the live action Tangled, I did see stuff about it already. I think I did. I forget who they were saying. It was something like, did they say they want it to be somebody like Timothée Chalamet or something? They want him to be Flynn Rider, even though I don't know if that's true. That could be actually a rumor, because I saw it and I was like, oh, yeah, they want to do a Tangled. And then I was like, first of all, no, the thing was like, I was like, okay, I'm usually biased when it comes to Timothy, but I was like, Timothy's not Flynn Rider. Unfortunately, he's not him, and that's all right. But this is the thing. They always just want to put people into roles, and it's like, I'm sorry, this person doesn't look anything like the person that they're being. And then that brings us on to biopics, but like, I'm going to come back, don't worry. I'm going to come back to that point. But it's just like, yeah, why would you do that? Just because he has brown hair? But I'm like, no, it's not him. If I could think of somebody who's Flynn Rider. Yeah, it would be that guy. Oh my God, wait. He's from, oh my God. It's going to annoy me very greatly if I don't find this guy. I know who I'm thinking of, though. I might have to turn my television on, actually. Give me a moment. Because I don't think I'll be able to find him otherwise. But I saw him on a show. That was, what was it? That was featured on Disney Plus. So, obviously, let me wait for my TV to come on. And I just need to find that guy. Because if I don't find him, then you guys will be like, who am I talking about? But no, for me, this guy, who obviously I'm going to find in a second, he, to me, is the embodiment. He is Flynn Rider, or he could be. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, I don't think, to me, it fits the bill, unfortunately. But this is what I mean. It's no diss on him, though. It's no diss on him. Do you get it? Like, I love Timothy, like, so bad. And so, yeah, this is what I'm saying. So that's what the breaking news is. I think it was posted a day ago, but that Disney's Tangled live action movie hits the pause button, and we're very sad about that. So, yeah, see, they said they wanted, I don't know. Actually, I think they haven't said who was going to be them, actually. No. The cast for the live-action Tangled actually hasn't been confirmed yet. It's just in conversation. And the film was also in conversation. But obviously, there was just rumours, and there was just stuff like rumoured saying, oh yeah, it could be Timothy and it could be Florence Pugh and like all these different people. And then obviously, sorry, obviously I'm looking for that guy. He's from the show Mid-Century Modern, and I forget, I'm gonna search his exact name now so that I can say who it is. Yes, Matt Bomer. I feel like, yeah, he'd do really well as Flynn. He's 47, so this is the thing. He's 47, so maybe people might be like, he's not Flynn. But well, how long? This is what I mean. Hold on a second. How old is Florence Pugh? Because then if you guys are gonna be like, oh my god, okay, she's 29. Fine. Yeah, you're right. I'm like, fine, she's 29. But why do people always want to have this weird thing with age, though, innit? They always want to make out like, oh, you can't put this person in a role because of their age, and that means, do you know what I mean, they've expired, or like, yeah, that term of expired goods. And I'm like, no, like, an actor can act all the way until they're ready to retire, and all the way until they're old, right? And they can do whatever role they want, by the way, as well. So strange, but that's what they say. But I don't know. So this is the thing then. If we was to find that is Zachary Levy, who has said, who obviously was Flynn, sorry, in the animated version. They're saying he thinks that Timothy should play Ben Ryder. But then again, I said I wouldn't say it would be him. He's not mine. Because he said, oh, this is what I mean, Zachary. And that's what I've said. Look, I was talking to you guys just about the age thing. Zachary himself has said he thinks he's a little old for the role. He's not. It's like, what do you mean? How old is... This is what I mean. How old is Zachary Levy anyway? Tell me how old he is. He's 44. Hollywood's crazy. They just have a problem. I mean, they have a problem with age. Do you know what I mean? But then, you know what's weird about them? They want to put two old people. Like, they do this all the time. They put old people to play young people. So this is what I mean. They do that already. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, Euphoria, but they do it a lot with the teen coming of age stuff when they have these people playing 15-year-olds, but they want us to believe that, oh, sorry. Yeah, they want us to believe that the person they're playing is 15. And we're like, no, they look 21 or 25. So I'm like, you guys already have this issue, but now you don't want to put people who are past the age of 40. You don't want to put them in roles when, like, do you know what I mean? They could still do it. Do you get it? Like, I don't know. It's my opinion. Do you know what I mean? It's actually my opinion. But this is what I mean. Hollywood doesn't want to do it. But then I'm just trying to say, like I just said, like, the Hollywood logic makes no sense. It's flawed. It's actually flawed. How are you telling me you don't want to do anyone past the age of 40 to play young roles, but you want to put old people to play young people? Yes, it makes so much sense. I really get it, but I don't get it. And it's okay. It's okay that I don't get it. It's okay that I don't get it. So, and we're the viewers, so we know. That's the thing. They'd be like, we're the viewers, we know what's right. You don't, because you're making it for us. We are the audience and the product of your audience. And if you're not convincing us, then we can't. But I think a lot of people would like to see Zachary as Flynn in the live action anyway. Do you know what I mean? I do. Even that's what I mean. Even besides his age, I think we'd love to see him. What do they call it? Reprise? No, like, I forget what the word is. But we were just like a revival. Yeah, we'd like to see him revive his role. Do you know what I mean? Because he did it already. So I don't know. But I just don't know. I think they obviously think that they would probably want to do somebody who's of around the same age as Florence. Because I think, yes, Florence is one of the main ones right now that they're in, like, yeah, she's one of the main female actresses who are in conversation. Like, she's one of the main ones. But I don't think they have much discussion around the male ones right now. They basically just have Timothy and a few others. I mean, they also have, what did it say? It also said Jonathan Bailey. And I hear that, though. I hear Jonathan Bailey. I hear that a lot. And Taylor Zacho Perez. Wait, is he that guy from... I think he's the guy from Red Blue. Yeah, see? From Red, White. Is it Red, White? Yeah, Red, White, and Roll Blue. Is him as Flynn Rider? I'm looking at him. I'm not sure. Anyways, I'm sure I could talk about this forever. I meant to do with that subject of who could be Flynn Rider, and Flynn Rider is one of the, like, do you know what I mean? He's the OG fine, OG fine. So the OG fine shit's like he's one of them, you know. So it's like with him, you want the person to be pristine and perfect, and I'm like to myself, there's so many people that you could say. I mean. And I don't know. And that's what I mean. It's a discussion. But I'm going to move on now to the last point, which is, live action. It's like live action equals biopics, because we're like, they're both on a scale with each other, because we're just like, we don't actually know if we as audience, as viewers, do we need them? I don't know if we need them. We don't know if we want them in cinema. So, yeah. And I think, obviously, that's what's, like, this Snow White, obviously, that's what it showcases. It showcases how, if it bombed at the box office, then the thing, and that's why they have paused the Tangled, because this just makes you wonder, like, it just makes you wonder, can you make live actions? But then, this is the thing, I always like to do this, we're going to go for a different angle here. And we're going to talk about, because obviously I already mentioned Red Riding Hood, right? I mentioned that one already. And obviously that one is great. That's why I said I recommend that one. Do you know what I mean? I recommend that for sure. If you haven't seen that, because obviously that came out, it came out in 2011. If you haven't seen that, then you should. And do you remember who the actors in there's Gary Oldman, and then there's also Charlie Swan. Yeah, Charlie Swan. But yes. So that's right. So that's one of them, right? And that's great. Then there's also, what's another great one, actually? Because this is what I mean. I'm trying to say to you guys, I'm trying to talk about, there's actually good live action. There's good live action Disney princesses, right? I really liked... Yes, sorry, I was, my head went blank for a moment, but, Belle, sorry, don't read me, Emma Watson, right? Emma Watson, Beauty and the Beast. I liked that one, okay? I don't think a lot of people did, but I did like that Beauty and the Beast. I think that alongside of her was, Dan Edgar, right? And I thought it was good. People didn't like it. I mean, do you guys remember Evermore? That song, and now I know she'll never leave me, even as she fades from view. Sorry, but no, that's the one, right? That's the one. So, and I liked that one. So that's another one, right? And that's another one that I don't think is bad. Even though, because obviously I'm actually looking at Screen Rant right now, and they have a list. They have a ranking list. But really, if I was to rank myself, bro, I know what my ranking would be, right? Oh, so Mulan. I watched Mulan, right? I don't know. I don't know if it made much of an... when you think to yourself, did a film make that much of an impression on me? I actually don't think it did, because, I mean, I thought it was good. You know what I mean? I thought the actress who played Mulan, I thought she looked like Mulan down bad. Like, do you know what I mean? I was like, yes. So, but I think to myself, I don't know if it made much of a yeah. So I don't know if yeah, I don't know if it made much of an impact on me, because that's what I mean. If I can't really remember it, then that means it probably didn't. Um. Oh, I think on this list they don't really like how Mulan like was. They don't really like. Yeah, they don't really like. They feel like she took away from the animated version of Mulan, and do you know what I mean? I didn't realize that then, but I can actually agree with that though. Then you also have Aurora. Well, that's Mulan at 7, guys, on this list of Screen Rank. You can obviously find out. I will put this in the description anyways. But yes, then the next one is Aurora. And I liked Aurora. Do you know what I mean? I love the live action Maleficent actually. I like that very much so. Do you know what I mean? And I don't see anything wrong with that film. Plus Angelina Jolie, she makes an amazing Maleficent, and yeah, she makes an amazing Maleficent. And I think what's so great about Maleficent is that we see Maleficent in a different light. And that's the best way. It's like I don't know. She is a villain, and you know what I mean? But she became villainized. I know that's how all villains do, but I mean hers is it's even more worse. And it's pretty valid. Sometimes when a villain goes bad, I just know it doesn't actually really make sense. It's what I thought about what was it? It's what I thought about Lion King, and I thought about Scar. I was like, he really went villain for the weirdest of reasons, or because he was jealous of Mufasa. That was literally all it was. It was literally just envy. There was literally nothing else. He was just envious, and that's why he went bad. So that one doesn't really make any sense. But Maleficent's one, you can be like, oh my gosh, like, do you know what I mean? People hated her just because she was different. Just because she was different. But she looked great though. Do you know what I mean? She looked great. So yeah, and I think they're trying to say in this ranking is that they just think if Disney were to make a live action Sleeping Beauty, that the character would be more effective. And probably that is interesting, because I guess because the film's Maleficent, it doesn't really feel like it zooms in on Aurora all that much. Of course, she takes it up some of the story because she softens Maleficent, right? But I guess what they're saying is that if there was a story that was just about Sleeping Beauty, it would be probably better. And maybe, I don't know. I was thinking to myself, maybe we need a Sleeping Beauty. But like I said, I'm supposed to be saying, do we need live actions at all? I'm thinking to myself that, like, you know, what's it called? Okay. But no, as I was saying, yeah, see, this person put on the Snow White bit that she can obviously take the cake for being the most appeal to the film. And this is what I mean. It's making me soften, and I'm like, yeah, maybe eventually when it comes out, like, not, I know it's out, but I mean when it comes out at home, I'm gonna be all over that. I'm gonna be all over that. But obviously, no, I was saying before when I started talking about Snow White, but I don't know. They shouldn't do a Sleeping Beauty, actually. Probably not. No thanks. Because this is what the question is. The question remains: should live actions be made? And right now, am I really answering that? I am, because I'm going through the live action princesses that we have right now, and the ones that they're not bad. Do you know what I mean? They're not bad, and they're actually quite good. So it's like, why just because we have one bad one, like, so far, or now as of late, why does that mean that we should not make them anymore because of one mistake? You know, that's not right. There's probably way more that they can do Um, it will come out great. I don't know. I haven't got through this list yet. Quickly, let me go through this ranking list. Actually, I just want to finish it off because really, where I was just talking about was Snow White's one, and they have her at 5, and then they've got Jasmine at 4, which obviously played by Naomi. Naomi Scott, and then 3, which is Belle, and I already mentioned Belle, and then 2 in Ariel, obviously played by Hailey Bailey, and Cinderella, which is 1. And I agree with this actually. I don't know if I agree with the whole ranking list actually, because I would obviously put Cinderella at 1. For sure I would literally put Cinderella at 1 because that's one of the best ones. It was very, very good. Even though I don't feel like people really talk about the Black Cinderella all that much, and I don't really like that. Do you know what I mean? They don't talk about Brandy and Whitney Houston's Cinderella, and I'm just like, why? It's a bit racist, but hey ho. And that's what they're having with Snow White's thing right now. With obviously Rachel's casting, is that they're just upset that that she's not white. But I think that whole era, Brandy and Whitney Houston did that Cinderella in, hold on a second. It came out a really long time ago. 1997, right? That came out in 1997, and that film especially, guys, was the Kickstarter and having like so much diversity in a film. And then even a film like Cinderella, when you just think, oh, Cinderella's white and she's got blonde hair and like a blue dress, but that was then in 97 where she was the original. And I'm just like, that's why I'm asking myself, that's so weird. Like, why are people going backwards? Do you know what I mean? We're actually supposed to be progressive. I find that really weird. And I think that's weird actually about society and the world in general. They always want to take us steps back. When Cinderella came out, like I said, in 97, it's 2025 now. Like, the conversation of people playing roles and like not being the color of the person, like, it's outdated. Are we gonna say that Brandy's Cinderella is rubbish, and that what's her name again, Lily James is a better Cinderella than Brandy? No, they're both equally, this is what I mean actually, they're both equally good, but it's to say that one's more superior just because one is a fairer tone. They're just both good films. It's just crazy. So I find that very odd. Yeah, even more so, like I said, just to do with, like, I don't think that obviously, that anybody should really zoom in on the race factor. And it's just like, it sometimes shocks me when it's like racism is still alive and well in 2025. And I'm just like, you're going to be pressed over what race somebody is rather than their ability. Cool. That makes so much sense. But anyway, back to debate, the subject at hand, which is where we're ending off. So, for me, personally, this is my ending note, sorry. I believe that animated things are better than live action. They win 10 times out of 10. I don't know. I think really when you think about a live action film, you think, is it average? Is it average? And it's like, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. Like I said, I just think my opinion is that animated versions are always better. I just think that, you don't want a shockingly bad live action. Do you know what I mean? You want the casting to be right. It's just, I think it's the same things you ask for in biopics as well. That's the thing. But I think with both of them, I'm like to myself, I don't think that live action should be made. Might be a scary statement to say, but that's the thing. I think biopics, I agree with biopics as well, because obviously, when I just did my episode about the Beatles and the Beatles biopic, I obviously I basically just wanted to get across was that the casting is not right. None of them are Scouse. And those are two standalone facts. And I'm just like, what's the film going to be able to do about those things? You know, they're facts. So what can you do? And then I think like my mom was saying to me when I was telling her about the biopic, she was just like, oh, like, sorry. She was just like, oh, but you obviously can't make people look like, yeah, and that's what I mean. And I was saying to her, if that's the case, don't make them. I said, if that has to be the reason, and it has to be like, oh, people can't make a person look like who they're supposed to look like. Then I said, why is this in conversation? Why are we talking about this? If we want, it shouldn't even be a subject. It shouldn't even be a topic. Because if you can't do it right, don't do it at all. And actually, that's a great motto to have, actually. Just in life, if you can't do it great, don't do it at all. Right? And this is what I mean. And it can be the subject. It can be the saying and the statement sticks for Snow White. And I mean, the biopic is not out yet, and it won't be out for another, like, what was it, 6, 7, like 3 years. But yeah. So that's that statement alone that I said. It's just, I think people should always have that in mind. If they feel like, oh, I just think people sometimes just want to make films just to make a film. Like, they just want to do it for fun. Like, they don't want to do it for it to be great. They just want to do it they just want to do it for laughs. Like, they just want to do it for fans. And I'm just like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Take caution. Be careful, and yeah. And it's just the thing that, because I think it is true that, like, when that woman was talking about Timothy's speech about being on the greats, her point about the fact that, yes, we do hold, films, and we hold actors' careers in our hands, is very true. We do, because if they don't get a good performance, then they're not gonna. I mean, I think, actually, I don't know if we make that much of an effect, because of course they're still gonna be paid, but they're like, I just mean, they need the return in it. I think that's always what matters about whenever you're making something. It's about the return, and they need to make sure that the return, that the return is what the outcome is. And if they don't get that, then that's not great. Do you know what I mean? So that's the main thing. But anyway, tell me your thoughts about the Snow White film, because actually, as someone who hasn't watched it, it would be interesting to hear you guys' thoughts. I would say, oh, no spoilers included, but if you spoil me, guys, I really don't care. I generally don't care. And then the thing is, actually, how could you guys spoil me? Because this is about Snow White. Sorry, I'm like, how could you guys spoil me? This is Snow White, and it's not even a new story. It's an old one. I just want to know people's thoughts on this film, because as someone who hasn't seen it, that's the main thing for me. I want to know if everything I'm saying in this podcast has been factually correct. That, yeah, it's not a great film, and that other people think so. But I also feel like I want to hear, because when I obviously searched it up on Screen Rant, and I don't know, was it Screen Rant? No, Rotten Tomatoes. It's like people are obviously saying that it also is good. So it's like, if you did like Snow White, tell me what you did like about it. And that's not even, you might think that's me coming off as a pop, but it's literally not. I generally want to know what the positives were, because it's like, you always need a positive out of out of a lot of negatives, right? At least one positive is fine. And then that is the thing that will help you to watch it. I mean, as I said already in the episode, I think I will watch it just because of Rachel, but I'm in no rush to. You know what I mean? I'm in no rush to. So thank you for listening, and see you in the next one.